All right, let's dive straight into a question that really gets to the heart of our digital world. What is actually happening to the value of knowledge? Today, we're going to dig into whether our most important asset, information itself, is being turned into just another product you can buy off a shelf.
So this is the big question that philosopher Ohita Hrutoy puts on the table. And it's what this whole explainer is about. I mean, we have more access to data than ever before in human history, but we have to ask, are we actually getting any wiser? Or are we just becoming customers in a brand new kind of marketplace?
Hrutoy kicks things off with this really beautiful, almost perfect idea. He thinks that knowledge, in its purest form, should be like a public good. Like air or water, a shared resource, something you can't really fence off and own, something that should be there for everyone. That's the ideal we're starting with.
But as you can probably guess, that ideal is a far cry from our modern reality. And this brings us to this massive shift in how we find things out, a journey you could pretty much call from guru to Google.
Okay, so let's unpack this for a second. If you look back at historical models, like the guru-shishya or teacher-student relationship, learning was this deeply personal thing. It was a two-way street, right? It was built on trust, mentorship, and a real commitment to understanding. It was never about a simple financial transaction. Knowledge was passed down through a real human connection.
And this really gets at the strange paradox we're all living in. We have literally all the world's information right in our pockets, but Hrutoy argues we've lost something absolutely crucial in the process. Sure, Google can give you a million facts in a split second, but what it can't give you is the context, the wisdom, or that personalized guidance that a real teacher can. We're swimming in information, but have we lost the art of actually understanding it?
And here's the result of all that. That free-flowing river of knowledge we talked about, well, it's being dammed up. It's getting packaged, shrink-wrapped, and sold. It's locked behind paywalls, super expensive courses, and all these exclusive subscriptions. Getting access isn't just about being curious anymore. It's about whether you can afford to pay.
So who's building this market? Well, Hrutoy points his finger at a few key players. First, the education system, which he says can prioritize pricey degrees over a person's actual merit. Then you've got tech companies who give us access, sure, but often monetize every click and every API call. And of course, there's this whole industry of coaching and corporate training that's creating different tiers of premium knowledge for the highest bidder.
This all leads us to a huge conflict, a real battle in philosophy and economics. Is knowledge a private product to be sold, or is it a public good meant to be shared? Let's break down this tale of two goods.
So on one side, you have the private good model. This is where knowledge is basically property. It can be owned, you can restrict who gets it, and you sell it to make money. But on the other side, you have the public good model, which sees knowledge as a shared resource, where the whole point is for everyone to benefit. And these two ideas, they are in a constant tug of war.
This chart really lays out the whole conflict. Now, let's just zoom in on those first two rows, excludability and rivalry. A private good is excludable. You can put up a paywall and lock people out. A public good, not so much. And think about it. Knowledge isn't rivalrous. If I learn something, that doesn't stop you from learning the exact same thing. This is totally different from a physical product. And it all leads to that last, most important question. Who really benefits? A private company or all of us?
And when you go down that private good road, the consequences are, well, they're pretty huge. It just makes the gap between the knowledge-rich and the knowledge-poor even wider. It can change the whole reason we learn, from doing it for its own sake to just buying a piece of paper. It even turns our own attention into a product that gets sold to the highest bidder. The impact is massive, and it's deeply personal.
But hey, this story isn't all doom and gloom. Hrutoy actually offers up an alternative vision, one that pushes back hard against the market. So let's explore what that actually looks like.
He calls it a humanitarian knowledge policy. It sounds a little complex, but the goal is actually super simple and pretty radical. Bring knowledge back to that ideal state of a public good. In this world, the barrier to entry isn't how much money you have, but your sincerity, your real, genuine desire to learn and to give back.
Now, a key part of this whole policy is the idea of independent knowledge. And look, this is way more than just getting stuff for free. It's all about reciprocity. The idea is you don't just passively consume information. You're expected to really engage with it, and then, this is the important part, you give back. Maybe you share what you learned, or you improve the original source, or you go out and create something totally new with it. It's supposed to be a living, breathing ecosystem, not some dusty old library. Okay, so the big question, how do you actually pay for all this? Hrutoy's answer is a thank-you-based contribution model. So instead of forcing you to pay with subscriptions, financial support is totally voluntary. It's given out of gratitude, out of respect for the value you got. This completely flips the script on the economics. It goes from a transaction based on pressure to a relationship built on genuine appreciation.
And you know what? This isn't just some pie-in-the-sky theory. This vision is already happening, right now, in the real world. You see it in the open access movement, which is fighting to make scientific research available to everybody. You see it with open educational resources, or OER, which are slashing the insane cost of textbooks. And legal tools like Creative Commons give us the framework to make sharing both legal and easy. These are the actual building blocks of that open alternative.
So, the path forward seems to be about spreading knowledge, not selling it. But let's get real for a second. What are the actual hurdles and the real opportunities in trying to build this more open world?
Look, let's not pretend this is easy. This vision, it's got some major challenges. For starters, how do you keep the lights on without paywalls? How do you make sure the information is high quality and trustworthy when it's all decentralized? And this one's critical. How do you bridge the digital divide so that open for all doesn't just mean open for those who already have good internet and fancy computers? These are tough questions.
But, and this is a big but, the flip side is just massive. I mean, if we can overcome these hurdles, we could truly democratize education on a global scale. We could spark a new wave of collaboration and innovation, kind of like what we've already seen with open source software. We could empower communities with the information they need to create real social change. The potential payoff here is absolutely transformative.
So, what's the bottom line? The big takeaway is that moving to an open knowledge world isn't just about building a cool new website or an app. It's going to take a fundamental, system-wide shift. We need to completely rethink public policy, invent new ways to fund things, and build a culture that actually values sharing and collaboration over hoarding and profiting.
And that leaves us with this final, really powerful thought from Hidoi. In a world where it feels like everything has a price tag, maybe, just maybe, our most essential resource should be treated differently. What if we stopped seeing knowledge as a commodity to be sold and started seeing it more like light, something whose entire purpose is to be spread as far and wide as possible? Now that is a thought worth holding on to.